my boy Bryant. How are you doing, brother?
Good. Thank you.
When's the last time I saw you? I don't think we talked about that.
Man, it's been a while. I think the last time I saw you was at Ant Dogs.
Ant Dogs, really?
Yeah.
Not even at AKA?
Not even at AKA. I think it was Ant Dogs.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you taking pictures out there?
I was probably in the area filming somebody, and I probably just in passing saw you.
I had a question for this. Do you like taking pictures better or video? What do you like better?
It's kind of a toss up right now, right? Because I originally started doing photography. That was my bread and butter, and it still is. But the video work started getting more interesting for me maybe about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I knew how to do it. It just wasn't something that I was keen on doing it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't my bread and butter. Like, you give me my camera and I can, turn it on with my eyes closed and do everything with my eyes closed and everything will come out good.
You know, like those people, those specialties where they're like messing around with a gun, taking it apart. I feel like you're like the type
exactly. Same way, settings. I mean, everything in and out with my eyes closed, I can probably figure out.
Yeah, you're like the John Wick of cameras, right?
Yes, pretty much. Whereas with the video portion, I mean, it's not difficult. It just takes a little more brain power to do.
So my brother, I was telling you off air right now, man, like I've always been associated with you when it comes to AKA. You were the guy with the camera taking high quality pictures and providing it for all of us athletes like as content, man. And I appreciate that dearly, bro. But I also was telling you, like, I wanted to know you before the camera.
Okay.
So how was it starting from your childhood, brother?
Good. So believe it or not, okay, so my dad was born in Mexico, but his father was a U.S. citizen, so it's weird, right? So he's a U.S. citizen. He was back in the States. He actually went to Mexico for school because the school education over there was more advanced than the school here in the U.S. He met my mom in Mexico. They fell in love, yada, yada, yada. Later on, I was born in Mexico. I was brought here at 3 years old. And I was raised on the east side of San Jose, and that's where I stayed almost the entirety of my life.
Yeah, and you still remain to be here.
So I moved because I purchased a home. I was trying to buy a home here in San Jose, and it was just crazy ridiculous.
Yeah.
We were looking at just plots of land, right, with a burnt house, and I think it was over like $1 million plus with the burnt house. So that was you removing the house, right, paying for the demo of that house, paying all the fees on that, and having just dirt.
For $1 million. Over $1 million.
Over $1 million.
What? Here?
Here. Well, I was in Willow Glen.
Oh.
So I mean, the prices were up there. So when we started looking for a home, unfortunately, we had to drift a little south.
So you're not here no longer.
A lot of people don't know, but no, I am no longer in San Jose. But I'm in San Jose every day.
Really?
Yes.
Bro, so you are constantly on the road. Like,
yes.
I know you just came from Houston.
Yes, last night.
Bro, does that take a toll on you?
It does. You know what? Jet lag is real. And the thing for me is, like, when I get flown out to perform, not to perform, but, perform my tasks.
Yeah.
I'm usually working right off the bat. So I land, get to my hotel, check in, and boom, right to work. So I don't really have time to de-stress or anything. I just go.
Yeah.
And it's like that almost 24/7 now.
So when you were growing up as a child, did you always notice yourself like loving imagery or videos or anything like that? Like, what brought you into like holding a camera and you're like, oh, I can do something with this?
So believe it or not, I was fortunate enough where I had electives as a 6th grader. So I chose photography. It wasn't really what it is now because, I mean, it was just, here's a point and shoot camera that my school gave us. You go out, take photos, and they develop for you, and your teacher's like, oh, yeah, that's, that was good. Oh, yeah, that was an excellent photo. Yes. But meanwhile, you're just, click, click, click to get the 24 exposures that were on that disposable camera done with, so you'd be done with the work.
Yeah. So did you fall in love with it right away, or is this kind of just like, oh, I like taking pictures?
I mean, I liked it, but I really didn't understand what it was, right? Because it was a point and shoot camera, and whatever you shot, I mean, you could hardly see the image on the photograph. It was just terrible. But I liked it,
Yeah. Did it prolong as time went on, or just like, how did it continue?
I was fortunate where I had electives 6, 7, and 8, so I just chose photography all the way through. I really didn't get serious into photography until high school, where I had it as elective again. But now you actually have an SLR, not a DSLR, an SLR, right? Where you actually have to manually put all the settings in the camera to get images. And I had a great instructor where he actually showed us how to use it. So once I actually figured out how to physically use the camera, I was like, oh, okay, this is cool now because now I can manipulate and get images the way I want them.
Mm-hmm. Did you, because I've noticed, I've had a lot of photographers and videographers on my podcast.
Yeah.
And they always talked about how they had to do a lot of free work in the very beginning.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way around it. Just because a lot of people don't know who you are, right? You're not established. And in order for you to be kind of seen, you have to do a little bit of free work.
Yeah. And
Right.
why do people assume that, especially creators now? Because I mean, there are a lot of great creators like due to like social media and stuff, but they assume that like, oh, you're going to pay me this many, you know, grand, this and that, like off for one project, and you really haven't like been put out there to the test.
See, but that's the thing now, right? The digital camera now is so advanced that you can put that thing on auto and you'll have some amazing images. Whereas before you had to work for it. You had to learn the camera. You had to know your equipment. Whereas now, and okay, so bringing, it's hard to talk about, right? Because
Talk about it, bro.
I didn't even start in MMA. I started shooting rappers and music and entertainment, right? So when I first was doing that, the digital camera had just came out, right? So there wasn't too many consumer digital cameras. Let me get that right. And they were expensive, so not too many people had it. So when I started doing all these performers and these entertainers, you know, I was the shit. I hate to say it, but I was because I knew the equipment, I knew it in and out.
Yeah.
And you could charge whatever rate you wanted. But as soon as Costco started selling, I'm dead serious, right? A lot of my clients were like, oh, well, you know what? We're not going to use you this time because we bought my little cousin a camera and my cousin's going to shoot the photos. And I was like, oh, shit, I was taken back, you know, because this was the first time I'm actually losing work.
Yeah.
But then they would come back to me, hey, they don't look the same as your images. Can you fix them?
Yeah.
And I'd see them and I'm like, bro, these are blurry. They're terrible because people don't take the time to invest into their craft. So I kind of fixed them up as best as possible to still get some kind of money. Because remember, we're still hurting for money at this point, right? So I would fix them to the best of my ability and tell them, hey, look, you hired your little cousin. Your little cousin doesn't have the experience I do. Your little cousin didn't learn the camera the way I did. That's why the images look the way they did.
Yeah.
Right? But they don't care. You know, they just want someone to post up to social media at that time.
Yeah, I feel like anybody can purchase a very high quality camera, but they don't know how to use it.
Right.
And that's the problem when it comes to, because honestly, me and my brothers, we have a lot of great cameras, but you have to like literally know the whole thing and how to use it properly.
Yes.
From every single setting. You need to know how to take it apart, put it back together, and just use all the mechanics. But a lot of people, they just like, oh man, I just spent $6,000 on a camera. I'm good. I got the right lens, got the right body. It's like, but do you know how to use it, man?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. You can put that camera on auto and it's going to give you decent quality images, right?
Yeah.
Something that you can get away with, right? But if you're hired to do a job and you know, you can totally tell the difference. Like, wait a minute, this does not look like this. You know, you can tell, but you know, for people to fake it till they make it, no, I'm dead serious. You know, it'll work.
What did it feel like when you got that either message, phone call to do your first job?
My first paid, man, I don't even remember. Man, I don't remember because honestly, like for me, it wasn't really about the money at first, right? I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I liked getting paid, but I was never one to overcharge or to like, you know, eye gouge people to the point where they're like, whoa, what the hell is this? You know, I can't afford that. I was always low on my quotes and my pricing, or if somebody couldn't afford me, I'm like, cool. Hey, what can you afford? Yeah. Right. Okay, cool. You can pay me XYZ. I can go, but I won't stay for the 8. I'll give you, 6, or, we'll work it. Yeah. Compromising. And if I remember right, I think you hired me once to do something. And what did I charge you? If you remember. I remember, but I don't know if you remember.
I don't think anything.
I charged you, I think it was a Gatorade and a Snickers.
Bro, no, you know what?
Yes. That's what I charged you, a Gatorade and a Snickers.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But you also love doing it, and this is what bothered me too. Like right now, this is kind of making me mad because I don't like to do that. Because I think when I was younger, when you're a young dumb athlete, you kind of you think you expect things just kind of given to you, maybe.
Right.
And man, that actually kind of makes me mad.
It shouldn't, and this is the reason why. after seeing what some fighters make, right, it is hard for me to accept money for some, knowing what they make.
Yeah.
And I've been able to document and be with a lot of fighters that when I see their overall pay, I'm just like flabbergasted. I'm like, man, just it's tough, you know. Don't worry about it.
And bro, like it's beautiful for you too, my man, because you get to see the whole process of it. You are documenting the journey.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, victory or in defeat, you get to, like you said, you see the end of that paycheck. You're like, what the fuck, bro? Like, you killed yourself for months.
Yeah.
For that?
So I've been with fighters, and okay, I'm not going to name them, but I've been with fighters where they receive 12 to show, 12 to win, right? The fighter that I was with at the time lost, so they showed, so they only got 12. On top of that, what people fail to realize is sometimes they charge you for your hotel, sometimes they charge you for your hotel, for your coach's flights, your coach's hotel stay, and any other expense in between comes out of your fighter purse. So overall, you're getting 12, right? No. After all your deductions, whatever your deductions were, that's your overall. And off that overall, you still have to pay taxes on that, which a lot of people don't know and end up in financial trouble because at the end of the year, guess what? You were 1099, I believe. Yeah. Right? So you get everything up front and you don't take the tax out. So when Uncle Sam comes to pay you a visit, you owe.
And then what do fighters, a lot of fighters do this, like when they get their money, they like to go crazy, like to celebrate. They like to spend money on, say, like dumb shit, you know?
I've had maybe one or two do that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I was a good example of that too. I mean, I would think that like, oh man, I got paid this much. And then like, you don't realize you still have bills at home. You still have to pay your coaches.
I left that out. You still have to pay coaches on top of that.
Yeah, bro.
You still have gym fees. If your gym, whatever you worked out between you and your gym, you still have gym fees.
Yeah, man.
You still have to live.
It's a tough fucking life to be a fighter.
It really is.
And it's honestly, I love this example because I saw a video one time of Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
He was in a room. When a UFC fighter walked into the room, he did this. Stand up a little straight. Mm-hmm. He was just like, oh man, what's going on, brother? Big fan. And I'm like, whoa, that's so strange for Kobe to stand up straight, adjust his posture, and be like, oh fuck, there's a fighter in the room.
Yeah.
It's different, right?
It is.
So I feel like I've seen that in NFL too. Like when NFL players see a UFC fighter, even if they're a small guy, they're like, oh shit, you a bad motherfucker. But it's like they don't get paid properly.
No.
And that's the thing that terrifies me the most is like, when is that going to change? When?
I don't know. It's a tough discussion because I don't know. It's tough. It really is. There are organizations that do take care of fighters as far as financials, and I've seen some of them compared. Out of the maybe top 4 organizations, you look at the pay scale, and I'm like, wait a minute. If you're supposed to be number 1 overall, why is XYZ paying more?
Yeah,
taking care of their fighters more. You know, it's weird.
Yeah,
but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not here to slam the organizations. You know, the fighters know what they're getting into when they sign the contract. So you just got to make whatever decision's best for you at that time.
Yeah, and I think, bro, like being a fighter and being like surrounded by all the guys. Honestly, it's almost like in the very beginning of the journey, you don't think about money.
That's it. You don't, because you're in it for the love of the sport or your craft, right?
Yeah.
And then once you get punched in the face, you're like, man, what am I doing? You know, I still have bills to pay on top of this. You know, this is not going to cut it. I need to figure out a way to get more money.
Yeah, and that's what I did, bro. Because like, I mean, I think I left the game at 25. And I remember when I just got in an accident and I was just like, oh, you know what? I think I'm good. I don't really want to take brain damage for chump change.
No, definitely not.
Like, I'm good. I think I'm okay. And it wasn't even a hard decision to even do that. It really wasn't. And even though, because like fighters, they don't do it for the money. They do it for the glory.
Right.
You know? And that's the one thing that
everyone wants to be the baddest MF, you know?
Yeah, everybody does. And like, it's a hard life in the fight game, and it's hard life outside.
Yes.
So it's like no matter what, you're suffering.
Yes.
It don't stop.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So how did the opportunity for you how did you even walk into AK? How the hell did that even happen?
So it is, okay. So once I started phasing out of the music scene, the entertainment stuff that I was doing, I mean, I've always lived here in San Jose. And the good thing about that is you meet a variety of people. We're so diverse here in the Bay Area.
Yes.
Right? I went to high school with Rob, which was DC's barber at the time.
Okay.
And one day I went into the barbershop to get my kid's haircut. And Rob actually introduced me to DC. DC was sitting in his chair, and he goes, "Oh, this is my boy Bryant. I went to high school." And he knows that I always did the photography thing. So he was like, "Oh, if you ever need any photos, you reach out to him. You guys should link up and do some work because he's good. He's good. He knew me. He knew my work." And DC was sitting there getting his haircut. And I was like, "Oh man, F this dude." But he still gave me his phone number, right? So I waited maybe like 4 or 5 days, and I texted him, "Hey, this is Brian, the photographer. Just let me know, whenever you need some photos, And that was pretty much it. He blew me off, of course. And then I eventually saw him at a show. I saw him at a show at the Cranway Pavilion. He was doing some autograph signings. And I introduced myself to him again. I'm like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Rob's friend, the photographer." He was like, "Oh, yeah." I'm like, "Hey, do you mind if I take a photo?" He was like, "Cool." So the Cranway Pavilion, you fought there before.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful venue.
Beautiful spot.
Right? So the sun was coming down right by the water, and I asked him to step out. And at first he looked at me like, "What the fuck? You want me to go outside?" And I was like, yeah, because, the sun. And I was trying to explain the whole situation. And he was reluctant at first, but then he finally did it. Took the photo and showed him on the back of the camera. And he was like, "Oh, shit." He goes, "That looks great." Yeah. And he goes, "Hey, do you mind if I get one with my family at the time?" And I was like, No, come on, let's go. So he called his family, and I took the photo. And from there, that was it.
So from there, it just prolonged to like more opportunities for you. Like he kind of welcomed you in the gym from there.
Yeah, from there he's like, "Hey, do you have time to come to the gym?" So I said, "Cool." I remember going my first day. They're like, "Oh, you got to sign in. You got to do this." Yeah. And who are you with? Okay, wait right here. Wait for him to show. And I was like, "What the hell is this?" I've never experienced anything like that. Yes. And it takes a little bit of time, of course. Someone brand new. You don't know what their intentions are. You don't know me personally. They don't know me. Yeah. And I think the first person I met there was Shy.
Yeah.
Right. And
beautiful Shy.
Yeah. Yep.
Fucking love you, Shy. God damn it.
And then after that, it was a wrap. Been rocking ever since.
And was it intimidating being in there? I mean, it's kind of a weird thing because you've been surrounded by, musicians, the entertainment aspect, and it's very, very high paced there. Yeah. So I feel like fighting, it is still high paced, but at a different tempo.
No, I don't think it was intimidating. Everyone was welcoming. I didn't have any problems whatsoever. Everyone was cool. So no, it wasn't intimidating at all.
Did you ever raise your eyebrow like, what the fuck are these guys doing?
No, because before that, I've seen MMA on TV. I did a little bit of Muay Thai when I was a lot lighter. I dabbled in it a little bit, but then just like everyone with the work schedule, just kids and everything just kind of fell off.
Yeah. When did you have children before you started photography?
I did not have children in 6th grade. No.
You know what I mean? When you first got into it. 6th grade.
I had kids when I was 23, so I was in college. Yeah. And once again in college, I did the whole photography thing. Same deal,
Damn, bro. So that's even like a one thing too that I feel like that's like will be my greatest title is being called a father. Yeah. What was that like bringing a child into the world? It's
scary, man. It's scary because you don't have the security as you're still renting, your living space. It's not yours. The money's tight. It's not coming in the way it's supposed to. You're working a job that you probably don't like. So I was juggling all that on top of going to school, on top of trying to, feed my family.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. Like, I feel like that helps you with all the other stuff though too. Cause how old are you, by the way?
Damn, I'm 38.
You're fucking young, dude. Yeah, Jesus Christ. That's the goal of mine, to have hair like that. I want white. So I want, hair like this. Yeah. I want it white though.
I just have bad genes. It just grows gray.
It's a good look, bro.
I'm not dying it. I'm not. At first I was, and I was like, you know what? No, just rock it.
Yeah. So when you were in AKA, obviously just taking pictures, when did that opportunity come to the point where you were like DC's head photographer?
So when I first got there, Lazy was helping DC with his photos and his social media stuff.
I remember Lazy. Right? That's crazy.
So Lazy was there, and we were kind of both doing the same job at the same time. And then I think he moved away, and I just kind of slipped into that spot, and that was that.
Yeah, and then, were you just following him everywhere?
Yep, everywhere.
Fuck, man.
And I could tell DC, I remember when you had 6,000 Instagram followers. And he was like, no, never. And I was like, you had 6,000 Instagram followers when I first met you. How many do you have now?
Yeah.
He goes, so you're saying you're part of my success? Or you're the reason for my success? And I was like, hey, man, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah. So honestly, bro, and isn't that a crazy thing too? Like you were a ginormous part of it. You know what I mean? You documented everything. Like I love that picture with DC leaning in and Dana White. And I think they were discussing the Stipe fight.
Oh, that was insane. That was right after he fought
Rumble 2?
No, I think it was Ozdemir. Was it Ozdemir?
Because it was a fight before Stipe. It's either Rumble 2 or Ozdemir. It was one of those.
One of those two.
One of those.
And I saw them together, and then I overheard what he was saying, and I was like, oh shit, this is huge.
That's crazy.
Right, so I was taking the photos, not knowing that I like kind of ear hustling. I overheard what it was, and I was like, this is huge.
Yeah.
And DC just said, hey, show me the money. Damn. Really, that's all it was.
It's crazy shit.
He never once said, let me think about it, or nah, he just said, show me the money.
Yeah. When you were first at AKA, did you kind of recognize like, man, there's like so many greats here, or did that take time to like accumulate like, wow?
No, at first, because you walk into AKA, right, and you see all the photos of the walls of all these legends, you're like, fuck. I've seen these guys on TV, the larger than life personas, and then they're in front of you. You're like, oh shit. But from being in the music industry, right, I never really got starstruck to the point where like I'm like, oh, I need a photo, or oh, I need this, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to carry yourself as a professional at all times, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of separates everybody.
Yeah. I think even for myself, being around like say Khabib, Kane, Luke, Josh, like DC, all these guys, it made me like really realize like we're all the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's funny, like when I have cousins who are like, oh my God, like how are they at the gym? I'm like, they're just training.
Yeah, it's
like,
cool.
They're all training. They're great guys. They all hug. They all like talk. They all shit. Yeah. We all do the same stuff. And then even like say like, oh, did you get a picture? And I'm like, no.
I mean, of course you get them in here in between, right? But it's more organic.
Yeah.
You're not there, oh, I need a photo for the gram. Yes. It's more organic, right?
Yeah. Like I remember there's this one photo of, I think it was you or Carlos took, like, how we did the whole fighter handshake thing?
Yeah.
And there was like this one picture of me and Hav just cracking up and we were just laughing. That's raw. It's natural. You know what I mean? It's not like, hey, let's just fake like we're laughing and take the picture.
Yeah.
It's not like that. No. I like that raw look better. And it's so funny. I've noticed that even from taking pictures of my, like, just personally when I go to weddings or so on and so forth, it's always better raw.
Right.
When it's people don't even expect it, right?
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, I don't know if it's the case for you, but every time I always tell people to get ready, I'm like, I don't know. I don't like the look.
No, it's not. It looks staged, of course. That's the overall. It just looks too posed.
Yeah. I remember when I took my camera to a wedding and the couple, they were like dancing and they had obviously a couple of drinks, but they were just staring at each other like, fuck, I love you.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, look how raw that is. But and then when I tell them to take a picture side by side, I'm like, it's not the same look.
Yeah. So I do weddings, but I like to do like small intimate weddings. I'm fortunate enough now where I can pick and choose what I want to do, right? So what I tell them is like, if we're doing a photo session for their engagement photos, I'm like, you guys just look at each other, talk to each other, and I'll do what I got to do.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa.
How does that feel, bro, to like be able to pick and choose your work?
It feels good. It does, but as far as like other stuff other than MMA, that's where I'm fortunate, where I can kind of pick and choose.
Yeah. And honestly, bro, like I'm extremely grateful for you to be here because I know your time is so valuable.
Thank you.
But do you ever get burnt out?
All the time. See, this is the thing, right? We live in California. Yeah. Not only California, but the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, right? So the thing is, if you're not hustling to work, you don't eat. Yeah. Right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not rich, but I'm not broke. My bills are paid.
Yes. Yeah, and honestly, bro, like I think you can like pass on some lessons to me for somebody who's like an aspiring entrepreneur and starting his own stuff. It's hard for me to turn it off. It's hard for me to channel that into playtime, I would say.
Even for me, I'm still struggling with that to this day because you always have that what if, right? The only thing that kind of helps me out now is that I was fortunate enough to be smart financially, where I was able to put away a little bit of money, not much, but that's emergency money. That's not play money. So if something happens where if I can't work, God forbid something happened. I have a little reserve of money where I can take care of myself and my family for a little bit and be okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
And like even for like I feel like when I go visit my family over the weekends is like the only time I really can turn it off. Like if my niece is there, ooh, I gotta be able to give her that genuine time. Same thing with my mom, my little brothers, my sister. It's like the only time where I can just like turn everything away and just like, hey guys, like let's talk, let's bullshit, let's go eat, let's, you know what I mean? That's the only time I could really turn it off. But I'm also in that phase too where it's like using my 20s to fucking build some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't want to waste my 20s. You know what I mean? And like I remember when I said this to my coach, Rick Soto, I said I almost thought fighting was a waste of time. Because I was like, I could have leveled up in so many different aspects. But he was like, if you didn't have fighting, though, you probably wouldn't have the discipline and work ethic.
Yeah, so a good example is that discipline, right? So I think I wilded out a little bit before I had my kids, right? Well, you know what? No. For me, I always looked older. So I was able, like at 15, 16, 17-year-olds, at 15, 16, 17, able to get into places where, you know, you have to be 21 and over. So I kind of wilded out at that time. So by the time I was 21, 22, I was like, nope, I'm good. Let's figure something out.
Yeah, right. Like, bro, like I don't crave that fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? Like I just don't. Like I get it. Like I had a birthday here recently and I spent it with
fine.
It was great, but it's like I can't do that shit every fucking weekend. You know what I mean?
Nope.
It's like I'd rather, as weird as it is, be in my room working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's how weird it's gotten. But I feel, and this is the weird thing that I'm trying to juggle with too. When I go home with my family, in the back of my head, there's like a little demon that's like, dude, you need to get to fucking work.
Yeah, always.
So, bro, and it's like, fuck. Like sometimes I'm just trying to like, dude, shut the fuck up and let me just be here.
Be in the moment.
Yes, but sometimes it's just like something is just pushing me aside. Like, oh, you need to go back home and get to fucking work.
Yeah.
So that is like thing.
But that's your work ethic from doing martial arts.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm not in the gym bettering myself, the guy I'm fighting in 3 weeks is already ahead of me. Yeah. Right? He's already grinding to the point where he has 5 hours and 6 minutes of more training than I do.
Yes. Do you ever think that you'll be able to channel that?
To turn off?
Yeah.
My work, my field of work is so competitive right now, they're probably not. You know, like I said, the Costco's made it, well, not even Costco now, but the digital cameras are so low in price right now that someone picking it up, right, for the first time can learn to use it effectively if they dedicate their time to it with maybe about 4 or 5 months. Not to, you know, on that level, but proficient enough where, you know, you can start making some good money.
Yeah, and I've heard something about with some creators that like this whole AI thing. We were talking a little bit off air.
AI is insane. I don't even want to touch it because it's scary. It really is, right? Because you saw those photos of, I don't know if you saw them or not, of Donald Trump when he was getting arrested.
Yeah,
those look so realistic, right?
Bro, I saw 4 of them. I think I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, dude, it was hilarious. Yeah. And it was like, I can't believe how real this is.
It's hilarious, but it's scary. It's like, oh, shit, you know.
Have you seen The Voice?
Yeah.
Bro, there was a speech that Leonardo DiCaprio was giving, and they put Steve Jobs' voice in it, Joe Rogan's voice in it. I'm like,
it's scary,
so
man.
Are they going to be able to change my voice and put words into my mouth and things that I don't say?
Yeah, it's scary.
Bro, I'm like, doesn't that change the world of podcasting in a way, or just in
it
content
does, because
creation?
now, like, okay, for example, podcast, you're doing your YouTube. I'm not sure if you're doing one on Spotify or what the case may be.
Yes, I am, yeah.
Right? But now you don't have the physical to match up with the audio. So you can just put whatever the hell you want out there, and so said XYZ, and that's it.
What the fuck? So is it a scary time for creators, do you think? Like, because I hear people, they're using AI to their advantage, or there are some creators who are terrified.
Right. I'm terrified. Yeah. I really am. It's good and bad, right? But I'm more terrified of it than anything.
Yeah, like we were talking off air about it. I haven't used it yet. I know we were talking about how there's this app where it can make separate clips and just obviously make the clips for you. I haven't used it yet because
I'm not gonna name drop because it's not sponsored by them.
Yeah, exactly. I give you guys, but I've never used it, nor do I feel like I want to.
Whatever those clips can do, you can do on your computer.
Exactly. And I have been. That's why I'm saying, I'm just like, I have like this system where it's like, man, like I love the workflow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's kind of weird to like add in another tool unless you play with it, unless you see it. But I've had friends who, because I've had a couple friends who have podcasts, but they started to use it. And it's funny because if I have a podcast, sometimes I could get 40 clips.
Yeah.
But there they give you 20.
Yep.
I was like, out of that whole hour, they give you 20 when I can get 40.
Yeah.
I'm like, they don't see what I see.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't, the human emotion.
Right.
Maybe that could be it too.
Yeah, AI pick and chooses what it wants, and then you can actually physically go in there on your end. Or it might be a moment that might not be too high as a click, but something that you like.
Yes, yeah. What do you think is the toughest thing when it comes to content creation in general?
Right now is everyone being on the same page to make the content, If you're by yourself, I mean, all day long you can make content by yourself, but if you're trying to organize something, someone's schedule is always off.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the one thing, like say having a team,
Sorry.
No, you're good, my brother. I remember Theo, he had his fucking thing blowing up like crazy.
Man, Theo has
Shout out to
up.
Theo.
Shout out Theo's.
I love his fucking sponsorship with the CBD. What is the CMD or whatever the I forgot what it is. Yes. Man, his fucking announcement was so fucking shout out to Theo, brother.
Yeah, CBDMD, man, that stuff works, bro. Yeah. Sleep aid.
I have also another question. Do you think everybody should have a podcast? Because it's almost like I had 3 creators on my podcast, and they say not everybody should.
Why not?
Right?
Why not?
Yeah, but they also said that because some of them just talk bullshit. But it's like maybe
true. I mean, it's true, right? But somebody, someone's gonna drink the Kool-Aid and wants to listen to it,
Yeah, like say if like a friend from high school or whatnot, they're like, "Hey man, I actually really enjoy your show. You just talk a bunch of nonsense, so on and so forth, but it's fun."
So I was actually thinking about creating one with a couple of friends I went to high school with and some that I grew up with, but we're like, damn, we always sit down and talking like, can you imagine if social media was around when we were in middle school and high school, bro?
It's wild, right?
Some of us, we'd be in big trouble.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You guys can still do it, but like you said, schedules. And then you're obviously gone now. You're all over the place.
I'm just talking about social media in general. Can you imagine if we had like Instagram and all that back in high school? Oh,
I mean, I think when I was growing up in like middle school, it was like MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace was my high school. MySpace.
You too?
I didn't really get into it too much,
Yeah, even like bro, it's blown up, right?
Yeah.
Does it terrify you with social media? I mean, especially as a father.
At first it did, right? So we were kind of like, my kids wanted it, so we gave it to them, but we were monitoring their social media at all times, right? But now it's like, Instagram was originally made for photos, for, to show off photography, right? And man, you open up Instagram now.
Reels.
And it's
Reels.
But it's nothing but half naked women dancing around. And there's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong. But it's like, you got away from what it was.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the changes when it comes to Facebook and Meta, because Meta owns Instagram,
right?
And they stopped paying their creators.
Meta did.
Mm-hmm. Well, Meta owns Instagram, so Instagram they're not paying their creators anymore via Instagram. Yeah, there was just an article that I just
Reels?
saw. Mm-hmm. So you were able to get depending on your views, you were able to get some monthly income.
Yes.
Now they're not even doing that because obviously the economy, everybody's trying to pull back. Everybody's trying to ugh.
So I used to make money off Instagram, right? I used to, they would send me like $1,600 a month when they were first trying out the Reels payment thing. I was lucky enough to get in there. Like, hey, you got to, but the downside for me was that you had to produce like 24, the numbers aren't correct, but a high number of Reels, anywhere between 20 and 20, let's say 20 and 30 a month, right? And they'd give you $1,600 just trying to feel it out. And I tried it, and it's difficult. It really is to make that many clips, meaningful clips.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
For that amount of money. So I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
Because even like doing.
But here's the offset. You get a beautiful girl on there, and all she has to move around a little bit, and there it is. Not knocking on it.
It could be 6 seconds. You know what I mean?
Not knocking on it, but just to show the creator pay on how it works.
Yeah, well, even
the views, because everyone's gonna,
even like say TikTok. There's like all these. I mean, there's so many other softwares that are coming up, social media apps, and it's just like, man, like even like they're all trying to ban TikTok right now. I don't know if you've been keeping up with that. Yeah. Do you think that's gonna happen?
I can see it happening. I really can. Because, and from what I've read, right, TikTok is owned by Chinese government or China or whatever that case may be. But if you go to TikTok in China, they're not showing you what we see here in the U.S.
Yeah.
It's all positive. It's all informational. It's all educational, right? Or here, when you open up TikTok, you know what it is.
We're getting distracted.
Right.
Yeah.
Another app, I'll put the name out there because I like it. It's called Vero. Vero
Okay.
app.
Yeah.
And that one is geared towards photographers and videographers and stuff like that, where you actually see the photos, right? It's just nothing but artistic photos in a sense.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to ask you too. Like, how do you consume content? Because I always like to consume content like on how to get an idea. You know what I mean? Like, say if I want to add a transition into my like videos or anything like that, I always just like to pick the brains off others and just add my own little flavor to it. You know what I mean? Right. So how do you consume other people's content?
Other people's content?
Yeah. Like, do you get like, say, obviously inspiration, or you like get an idea, or?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, for whatever's out there that you do see that's not half naked women dancing, it's cool to see how other people, put their work out.
Yeah.
And at first, when I was first doing my videos, I didn't know much about the editing portion. I learned on my own before I went to college. So that was, a challenge in itself. And a lot of people don't want to give you the game. So you'd ask people like, hey, how do you do this? And how do you do that? And they're like, nope, I'm not telling you.
Why?
I have no clue. Where me, on the other hand, I was giving out free game all the time.
Yeah.
With the photography. Anytime anybody asked me, oh, how did you do this? How do you do that? Oh, well, I did it with XYZ. These are the lights I have, and this is how I set it up. And I guess, not to saturate the game,
Yeah. And I feel like, they say like, oh, everybody and their mother has a podcast.
Yeah.
But I feel like everybody has their own flavor, bro. You know
exactly.
what I mean? Everybody has their own flavor.
That's why when he told me, should everyone have, why not?
Yeah. And I feel like everybody brings something to the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everyone has different life experiences.
Exactly. And I feel like my podcast is based on the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, yes, I give my little tidbits, but it's about you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like when my audience gets to see you guys, are like, man, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And let me go see his work. Like, oh shit, he takes pictures of Cormier. He's been around with the world champions. Like, he's been there and done that. He is the Bay.
You know what's funny now? That almost 90% of what I shoot, I don't even post anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. I'm just kind of getting bored with the social media aspect.
Really?
Don't get me wrong, I like to look, but
yeah,
for me to actually post work out there, it's, I don't know. I just don't do it anymore.
And it's also because I feel like you put yourself at that level. You know what I mean? Where it's, you've already established yourself.
Yeah.
Your results speak for you.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can show up in the room and they already know.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, guys, here's my business card. Check this out. Look, you want to know who I work with? Like,
and that's how it was at first. You had to put yourself out there. The business cards were like, handing them out to everybody.
Yes.
And I think the first few times I did that, you'd walk in and you'd hand out your business card. And I think what hurt the most is like you see them on the floor afterward and you're like, fuck.
Oh, man. That breaks
your heart. It happens, But now I don't even carry business cards. I hardly post to social media. If I do post,
Yeah. It's almost like random, you know what I mean?
And that's not just being cocky. That's just kind of being confident with your skill and your abilities. Not everybody knows who you are. Not everybody knows what you do. Yeah. But just in general conversation, it'll come up. And they're like, oh, so, what's your Instagram? Oh, it's XYZ. And then they're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. You've documented so many people's journeys.
Yeah.
Do you wish somebody documented yours while you were coming up?
I'm boring. To tell the truth. Yeah, I'm boring.
But you know what I mean with the transition, bro? You know what I mean? Like you said, like how we're talking about now, you've established yourself. Just like how, imagine somebody documenting you giving out business cards and then getting your reaction when you see them on the floor. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's the one thing I regret in my fight career.
All the fighters do.
Bro, not having documenting my journey. Like when I was crying in the locker room when I lost, when I've won my fights, like the bad weight cuts, like I never got anything documented. I'm like, what the fuck?
See, but that was the thing. This whole documenting, the fight game 10 years ago didn't exist.
Yeah.
I did some work with Josh Thompson. He goes, man, I regret not documenting my fight career.
Crazy.
Right. And he was just like, man, it's tough. All the stuff I did, I don't have photos, I don't have videos, I don't have nothing. But I told him that wasn't what was in the spotlight at the time, though. You can't really blame yourself because nobody knew.
Yeah. But it's almost like, it's always good because I could always go back.
Yeah.
It's almost like their files in here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understand like documentation when it's like the bad nights, or to give people an example, like, oh, this is how you go through a bad day, or like how you deal with a loss, or like what happens after a loss or during a win. There's always like lessons to pass on to other people, but sometimes like keeping those files to yourself is good.
Yeah, it's good. Like I have photos when DC fought Miocic and lost. Right, I have some dope photos behind the scenes of him, with Dana White, Max Holloway, all in the back, right? Crazy photos that no one will probably ever see.
Really?
I've never released them. DC's never even seen them.
Do you think it'll ever be posted out there?
Probably not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone tells me I should make a table book, right? I've had people tell me, "Oh, you should make a table book. You should make a table book." But it's very I don't know, it just, to me, it feels too intrusive to the fighter. I don't know, it's weird.
Do you think, I mean, obviously I don't think he would have a problem with it, right? Because it's the journey.
No, I don't think he'll have a problem with them. He's pretty good about it, but just they're too personal on my level to put out.
Yeah, I could understand that, because even though they may be okay with it, but deep inside you're like, man, these are tough moments. How does that feel, bro? Like, because you build a bond with these fighters.
Bro, I was balling with them.
You know what I mean?
I was in the back room balling with them.
Fuck, man.
He's the one to fight, and I felt like I just, got the shit kicked out of myself.
It's like your brother, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, like, that's when I was never really like scared when I was fighting. I was always excited, and I love this. I love the lights. I was terrified when my teammates or even my little brother fights. I fucking hate that feeling.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine, just like you, it's almost the same thing. Like you, bro, you're documenting the whole training camp. You get to see the bad days, the good days, the injuries, like everything. And then sometimes, I mean, I just saw Hav's post today when Khabib had the worst training camp of his life. And I saw the description of like how he had a broken toe. And then
so there is so much behind that people don't even know. Like so much in the, so people think fight weeks go XYZ and, straightforward.
Yeah.
There are so many curveballs that are thrown into a fight week that can be family related, training related, that people don't even understand, right? Yeah. So sometimes when these guys don't even make it to the cage to fight, I'm able to appreciate the back end of what happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like that's what I wish I had it too, just like the losses. More importantly, I wish the losses were documented, because I remember every single second of those. Like they hit me more
emotional. Bro. They're so intense. Just to look back at some of the ones I have documented, it's like, whoa.
Oh my God. Yeah, I wish I had that of me, because I remember crying in the locker room like, what the fuck?
So I think I kind of made it popular in a sense, and I don't want to say popular, but there is a photo out there floating, and I think I was the first one to post it on DC's rough weight cut, and it's DC kind of laying on the floor. I think Kane is on one side, and somebody else on the other side trying to pick him up off the ground, and that one went viral everywhere. I think ESPN even picked it up. It was just everywhere. And, the descript was something to the effect of, the hard weight cut, what people don't see behind the scenes and XYZ. And it's just DC kind of laying out, Yeah.
What's one of the biggest things that you've learned from these high-level individuals?
Learned as far as?
I would say just anything when it comes to, like, where their work ethic, their grit, their constant showing up and just.
So, I mean, just look at Khabib, look at DC's work ethic. Those guys can be sick. They can be not having the best days. Something happens with family, and they're in the gym training every day. That doesn't let it get to them, But once they're done, they kind of reflect on whatever is ailing them at that moment.
Yeah, and I think it's good for even DC to, like, have met you, because it's almost like you have that sickening work ethic as well.
Yeah, I try to, man. It's tough, but I try.
So, I mean, even when you're flying out to all these locations, man, like, do you ever just kind of like, fuck, like, I mean, how many hours do you get of sleep, honestly, a night?
When I have a long week, so here's the tough thing about it, right? When I was younger, I was fortunate where I'd be flying out to Miami for work, right? In my younger days, you work during the day, you change out, and then you go out at night. Then you get up in the morning and do it again.
Yeah.
And for me, the clients that I had in Miami, those dudes were balling on a different level.
Yes.
So they'd be like, oh, we're going to Club Live. Oh, we're going to XYZ tonight.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, nah, man, I'm tired. They're like, nope, you got to go. So we'd go out, stay out till like 4 or 5 in the morning. I'd sleep maybe 2 hours and get back right to work in the morning.
Fuck. You know what? That's what I've learned too about, say, entrepreneurs. The sleep schedule is different.
No, totally different.
It's very different. And I've noticed that with myself. Like, I remember when I was a fighter, I didn't really prioritize my sleep very well.
Yeah.
I've definitely harnessed that better. But when there are days when I got to work, I'm like, I'm going to get 4 today.
Yeah.
I'm literally going to get fucking 5. Like, I'm not going to sleep good today. Like, I got to work.
Yeah, no bullshit. We'd be in Miami, right, partying. And this is a true story. I'd be there, and they don't know who I am, but I know who they are. My clients who are friends with these people.
Yeah.
Fat Joe would be there, DJ Khaled, all these dudes in Miami, right? And they're out there, partying, you know, all in the elevator. And then they'd be buying bottles and XYZ. And I don't have money to pay for bottles, right?
Yeah.
I'm broke. So then my clients, you know, they have money.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, oh, so what do I owe? You know, I'd kind of pull out my wallet to be
Yeah.
like, what do I owe?
Yes.
And they're like, no, we got it. I'd be like, cool, thank you. Put my wallet back because I had no intention of paying because I was broke.
Is that crazy, bro? Like, seeing all these guys. I mean, like, honestly, like, you hear their music, but being with them.
Yeah.
Isn't that a trip, man?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you've seen it and you've done it.
It's a trip at first, but once you get to know them, they're just like you and I. But their worth ethic is what got them to where they're at.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because those guys are nonstop too. I remember going to the studio 5, 6 in the morning, you know, and these guys are just nonstop working.
Yeah, bro. Like, my cousin, he's Tory Lanez's assistant. So
Yeah.
Tory just got arrested, obviously, but he would say, like, Tory don't sleep.
No, they don't.
Like,
They don't.
And that's a crazy thing, right? I
They
mean,
don't.
it's a weird, like, I think Elon was even talking about it. He's like, man, he's like, nobody should be doing this type of work. He's like, it's not made for.
Well, you saw Elon was sleeping in his office and Twitter and on the floor and on tables, wherever you can get a nap in.
It's wild, bro.
Yeah.
But it's almost like that's what it takes, right?
Yeah.
Right?
And see, the thing with me too is when I travel, I hate sleeping in hotels. I can't even sleep. So sometimes I'll be up to like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Or I'll go to the gym to try to like walk and get tired or do some weights to get myself tired and right back to the room, and your mind is just constantly going.
Right. See, that's
Yeah.
the whole aspect of turning it off, though.
Yeah.
And I feel like, bro, that's what I don't want to say that's what I'm scared for, but it's almost like fighting. I know what I'm putting myself through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know what I signed up for. So it's almost like I've always been that, but it's scaling now.
Yeah.
It's just going to get, it's going to get somewhere, but it's just like, are you able to keep up with it? Are you able to maintain it and grow it? That's the one thing that I'm just like, I know I can do, but is it going to be a detriment to my future wife, to my future children?
See, and that's the thing. Not everyone's lifestyle is built for the work their spouse does.
Yeah.
So that has to be set in stone. Like, luckily for me is like, hey, I gotta go. Boom. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Why do I gotta go? Because we have kids. The mortgage needs to be paid. This needs to be paid. We have bills, and they'll be taken care of.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate where I tell my kids, they ask me for something. Hey, I can't get it right now. Give me a few weeks, but you'll have it. You know, I can't do it right now, but you'll get it.
Yeah.
And they're like, cool, no problem.
Yeah.
Like,
how important is that to have like the right partner by your side? Because
100%, you have to.
A lot of people
You have to.
would not appreciate, say, you hustling so much, you busy, like you should be here, like so on and so forth. Like, I feel like, bro, like having the right wife is a fucking life hack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Luckily for me, if I'm in town, I'll help out as much as possible. I'll pick up the kids, take them to practice. I'm doing dinner and the whole 9 yards. But when I'm away, she picks up the kids, takes them to practice, feeds them, makes sure homework's done, and the whole 9 yards on our end, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a give and take. While I'm here, I'll try to do as much as possible to alleviate that from her so she gets a little bit of rest and downtime. But when I'm gone, she picks up the slack.
Yeah. Was that hard in the beginning of that, when the journey started for you to travel all the way around the world? Was it kind of hard?
So, no, in a sense, because we needed the money. When we first started out, I was traveling for necessity. Like, I couldn't find work here in the Bay Area. Once the music thing was done here, I was not getting as much, jobs, like I said, due to the prices and the cameras. But Miami was calling, hey, I'll be back. I got to go get this money and I'll be back. Yeah. Cool. That's how we got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to put braces in the kids' mouths. I'm dead serious. Yes. I'm dead serious.
Facts,
bro. And the thing is, if you don't have a wife, you don't have kids, or you don't have anything, yeah, shit. Whatever money you go out there and get, you go out there and blow it, and you come back broke. Cool, no problem. I can eat ramen for a week.
Yeah, dude, that's the crazy thing too, where it's like people sometimes like I cook them really the same shit all the time, and then people are like, don't you get fucking tired of eating the same shit? I'm like, honestly,
no. You like it.
And it's like, it's nourishing for my body and it's good enough macronutrients that I'm consuming, but it's crazy that I can do the most basic shit every day and be okay.
Yeah, you love it, man.
But that's just like with the whole, you know, you can sleep wherever you want.
Yeah.
You can eat whatever you want. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like that's what it takes.
Yeah.
So if you have to survive off ramen, you'll find a way to.
I remember, man, when I did a lot of security work too before the photography. I mean, I did them at the same time, but, you know, kind of supplement the income. And I remember where I had like $3 to put gas in my car to get to work, and I was just like, fuck, I can't. This is not it.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, you know, my parents would always help me out. Huge shout out to my parents. They always helped me out. But you hate to ask, you know. My dad never told me no when hey, I need to borrow money. Cool, no problem. I just want it in return. Yeah. You don't have to tell me when, but I just want it back.
Yeah.
My mom too. She gave me my first $4,000 to buy my first actual like pro camera.
Yeah.
Because she saw the potential. She's like, boom, here.
Yeah.
Order it, get it done.
Yeah, and I think that's a beautiful aspect, man. Like where parents, it's almost like even like when parents pay for your college, but instead they get you a fucking camera that 10x's it. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, that camera cost $4,000, but what did it give back?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The return of investment was much greater.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I went to college, I didn't qualify for financial aid. I don't know how the hell I did not qualify, but I didn't qualify. You know, I think I did get like the Borg Warner and some like, you know, other stuff waived off, but everything else was out of pocket.
Do you think college is essential?
Now, probably not. Back then, yes. There's so many other jobs people can do now that pay, you know, excellent money, where college, I think, is kind of phasing out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What for content creators, man, like how do they figure out the whole charging aspect when it comes to weddings, when it comes to the music, when it comes to athletes? Like, how do they manage all that, the pricing and the charging?
You know what? I don't know. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. I know photographers that charge $10,000 to show up to a wedding.
Jesus Christ.
And they get paid, but they're excellent at their craft.
Yeah.
You know? I was reading, there was a news article about this guy who was shooting an Indian wedding. I think they paid him $80,000 or $90,000. And the guy was complaining because he didn't get booked at the 5-star hotel that the rest of the wedding party were staying at.
The photographer was mad?
The photographer was mad.
Hey,
and I was like, bro, for
diva.
$70,000, you can put me up at Motel 6 and I'll be good.
Bro, right?
Yeah.
See, that's what I mean by the whole, that simple life where you can like, dude, if I could sleep on the floor, I could sleep on the fucking floor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll sleep in my car.
That's crazy, man. So, yeah, but that's what I've always been curious about that, because like everybody does charge very differently.
Yeah.
And when it comes to different work too.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you think you should charge more when it comes to the photography or the videos? What do you think is more work, do you think?
What's more valuable to you?
Yeah. Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
What's more valuable to you?
So it all depends on the customer, really.
Yeah, the customer.
Yeah. Do you ever have to
100%.
like pick the brains off the customer, like to see what they want, what they like?
Always. So I always try to get, you know, an idea of what they want, what the budget is, just so I can kind of, you know, price myself around their expectations.
Yeah. Do you ever have to work with their budget, or
of course? And I don't mind doing that. That's the thing. Like, I'm in it for the money, but I'm not. I like doing what I do.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah, man, because I've, like my fitness and nutrition business, bro, I've helped so many people for free in the beginning. Like you said, nobody knows me. Nobody knows like the transformations I've ever done. So I have to put in that work where it's like, oh, like, let me show you the value and then let the results speak for me.
Yeah. And once you do that, the majority of my work that I've gotten in the past was all off referrals. So I might have done a free job for XYZ, but XYZ referred me to so-and-so who then paid me top dollar for the same task.
Bro, the power of word of mouth, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, you can have a website. Yes, you can have a social media, so on and so forth, but
now it's all word of mouth on my end.
Bro, honestly, same for me. You know what I mean? Like I have clients that I've never even shook their hand because like my fitness and nutrition is all online based.
Itself, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like people that I've never, yes, I do Zoom calls with them and I get to like communicate with that aspect.
Yeah.
But these people that I've never even fucking touched.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's all via word of mouth, which is a trip. And I'm just like, damn, like I'm not making these fucking videos where it's like, guys, buy my programs. You know what I mean? Selling it for this much. Like I don't need to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I see other people doing it and their business is obviously scaled. And sometimes I like take a step back. I'm like, should I be doing that? But I'm like, I don't know. Because they're obviously multiple steps ahead, like financially.
Right.
But I'm always like, I don't.
But then you lose actual touch with that clientele, right?
That's what I'm saying.
You're selling cookie cutter meal preps or meal plans to just the vast majority.
Yeah.
When you're not picking the brain and see like, okay, this is what you need for your individualized plan.
Yes.
And that's where the problem lies, right? Where you get too big, where you can't cater to everybody the way, or sorry, I wouldn't say cater, but you can't spend enough time with that individual client the way you need to.
Yeah, agreed, man. What do you think is the hardest and the best thing about your career?
The hardest thing is being away from my family as much, right?
Yeah.
You know, and then the best thing is, man, I get to see the world. Yeah. You know, and it sucks sometimes because, you know, like I went to Guam, right? And I was laying on the beach in Guam, and I was like, damn, I wish my family was here to see what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And then I post a little quick video, and then right away, must be nice, you know. And I'm like, oh.
Shit.
But you didn't see me kill myself, you know, the last 4 days.
That's what I'm saying, right?
But it's little jabs. It's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing serious. It's just kind of like messing around.
Do you really sit back and enjoy those moments when you're there, like you said, sitting on the beach at Guam?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to go to the beach maybe for like an hour. Somebody hosted us there, so we were there, and this guy had his private beach, and he barbecued for us, and you know, had drinks and the whole 9 yards for us, and I just sat on the beach like, damn, this is beautiful.
That's crazy, man. So that's the one thing I feel like people don't do is love the process.
Yeah.
They ignore that. They almost like, no, I gotta work. No, I gotta work. No, fuck my family. No, fuck this. No, fuck that. It's like, dude, you'll burn yourself to the ground.
You will. But yeah, given our location, I mean, it's tough not to, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to hustle out here. You have to have multiple sources of income to make it here in the Bay Area.
Absolutely, man.
There's no other way. Yeah. I think I read something where they said if you make 200,000 K, that you are considered low income. And I'm like, holy shit.
That's fucking nuts.
I'm not even touching a third of that, so I'm like below the spectrum. But then I can't even qualify for anything.
Bro.
You know, I was like, damn.
Yeah, man, it's fucking wild. I mean, I would ask where you were, but obviously we're on a fucking podcast. I mean, I don't want to show your location.
As far as my home, you know, I'm set. I'm good. My house is nice. You know, it's nothing crazy. It's a little small house, but.
And that's the thing too, bro. Like the simple life.
Yeah, I'm good.
We could live in the small house. Does it have a bed? Yes. Does it have a kitchen? Yes. Does it have fucking bathrooms? Yes.
Yes.
We're okay.
Easy. I'm fortunate where I have a big backyard where I can have all my dogs. We have a bunch of dogs.
How many?
5.
Jesus Christ. That's like almost. How many kids do you have?
So we have 3 total. My wife had one from a previous relationship, and then my 2 boys.
What's the hardest thing? Being a father, like raising children, or your job, your career?
My job is pretty much easy because I know it like the back of my hand.
That's
right?
true, yeah.
Right? So you can't compare. My kids, I've been fortunate where my kids are easy, right? The only thing that we struggle on, of course, is like the older one with the homework situation.
Yeah.
But he's a damn good kid. I mean, we got lucky where they don't give us any headache.
Yeah, homework's fucking tough, bro.
But then again, you know what? That's from growing up on the east side. You know, you know what to expect, right? So your kids can't run game on you. Like my kids try to run game, like no, come on. I'm not stupid. I wasn't born yesterday.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's one of the benefits of actually being raised on the east side, where you kind of, no, you're trying to run game. I know what's going on.
Yes. Do you? Does it ever kind of take you off when you hear people say, "Oh, a camera can't take care of your lifestyle"?
A camera can't.
Like, has somebody ever told you that? Like, when you first started photography?
I'm living proof, man.
You know what I mean?
This is what I do full time.
Yes.
I don't have to do any other job. This is what I do full time. Now, don't get me wrong. I do it full time. You know.
Yeah.
Or it's
overtime.
Like, yes.
Yes.
But this is what takes care of myself. And
That's what I tell people who want to do a podcast. I'm like, oh, this is obviously time, but it's like, oh, you gotta overtime as well.
Yes.
It never stops.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's funny when people are like, "Oh, I'm just gonna record, 3 people, and that's 3 weeks worth," and I'm like, I'll be good. I'm like, no. These weeks will go by so fucking fast. I was like, you need to be on it. Yeah. Like, I could think like, oh man, I got 4 people. Oh, I can relax a little bit. That's not the case.
Nope.
That is not the case. Like, you have to keep fucking hustling, just like you said, the fucking Bay Area.
Yep.
Yeah. Does that? I mean, you're not here anymore, right? So you're obviously in a more calmer area, I would say.
I'm in the South Bay, just not San Jose.
Oh,
so I'm still here.
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah! I thought you were like gone.
No.
I was like, damn, are you in Houston?
No. I'm still in the South Bay.
All right, my brother. Well, hey, we just hit an hour. I really want to be respectful of your time. Isn't that fucking fast?
Here, real quick before you go, check this out. This is crazy. I'm gonna tell you how I got my first digital camera. Not my pro, but my first like basic digital camera. So I couldn't afford it, right? I couldn't afford the digital camera to save my life. My little cousin, he's actually a photographer too. I got him into it, and he just fucking blew up. This dude does photos he did for the Miami Heat. We're just fortunate, man. We got good clientele.
Christ.
And he was actually he was the youngest photographer to go overseas when we were in war in Baghdad or something like that. He went at 16 or 15 years old. My uncle was in the army, and he basically, my cousin wanted to go, so my uncle paid his whole entire trip, hooked him up with some military people out there, and that's what he did. So when he came back, he was going to Little Haiti when the earthquake hit, that huge earthquake. Yeah. He was fortunate enough to go in with the doctors group, where the doctors group was documenting all the people that were taken care of. And he reached out to me, he goes, "Hey man, I need a bulletproof vest." And I was like, "What do you need a bulletproof vest for?" He goes, "Man, I'm going to Haiti. It's going crazy out there. They're murdering people because there was no food sources. There was no water. So everyone was just panicking. And there was malaria, and there was all these diseases over there." So I was doing security work at the time, and I had one. He goes, "Hey, I'll trade you." He goes, "I got an extra camera if you got a vest." I was like, "Cool." So that's how I got my first camera. We swapped. I dead serious. I gave him one of my bulletproof vests, and he gave me a camera.
How the fuck did you have one?
From doing security work.
Really?
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
I didn't know security fucking gave you bulletproof shit.
No, you buy them, right? So you buy them on your own. I was doing work on the east side for some of the Spanish clubs. And a lot of those a lot of those guys are strapped, or they have something to shank each other.
That's a pretty big trip, honestly. That's a big swap.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's funny because that swap saves his life and it benefits your life.
Yeah, it
so
does.
It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, and I had 2 of them, so I was like, cool.
That's
crazy.
So do you still have it?
Camera. So from that camera, I actually sold it. I sold it to a friend of mine for the low, and then I upgraded, and then that's when I got the pro camera with the help of my mom.
That's crazy, bro. What a fucking story.
Yeah.
Do you still have the other suit? The other?
No, I got rid of him. There was no need for him. And I think back then I was a few pounds down. So yeah, I don't think if I wanted to put it on, I couldn't even put it on to save my life.
Fuck, well, that's wild, my man. Well, my brother, I definitely want to let you go because you are a fucking busy man, and I respect your time just for fucking being here, man. Thank you so much, bro. Appreciate you. So, my very, very last question to you: out of all the years that you've been alive, what's the greatest lesson you've ever learned?
What is the greatest lesson that I've ever learned? Man, don't fall into peer pressure. Be your own man. Be your own person. I have so many friends right now that are either in prison or dead or in some sort of drug or recovery because of that, Yeah.
Well,
be your own person.
Are there any closing statements you'd like to give for the podcast?
That's it, man. Thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you, brother, for coming on here, man. And you're constantly doing some big shit. Even though you don't post and share it, I know you're fucking hustling.
I'm trying, man.
You know what I mean, bro? But I love that shit, my man. Like, you're still on it. And you've already established yourself, but you're still fucking showing up. And that's what I love about you, my man. You've never fucking stopped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's where the uncommon come from, is they just don't stop.
Yeah, but I'm very fortunate too, where everyone that I've encountered have been nothing but positive. I think I've only had one experience where one celebrity put me off, and that was about it. In all my time of doing the work that I do.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Patrick Ewing.
Shit, dude. Yeah, he fucking missed out for sure, right?
No, man. We were in Miami. And
He missed out.
I asked him for a photo for an assignment, so it wasn't even for me. I had to take a photo of him for something, and he told me to go fuck off. And I was like, whoa, it's not even for me. I was working for Dwayne Wade at the time, and I needed some photos for an event. And then I was with a female. She was a co-host or something like that from a show. And then right off the bat, she asked him. She goes, "Oh, I need it for so." Oh, right away. Oh, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, bro, I just literally asked you the same thing.
What a fucking.
He probably don't remember, but
That's all good. Well, fuck him. I don't care what you say. He's missing out for sure.
Shaq shoes are better.
Yes. Well, my brother, thank you so much for coming on again,
Anytime,
my man.
Thank you for having me.
And keep fucking hustling,
Yes,
my man.
sir.
All right. I'll see you at the fucking top, my man.
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are out here. Goodbye.